just preparing to get older, grow older, live longer?
I don't think they're thinking, nor are we thinking about how difficult aging is, right? And how much planning aging requires.
Amen to that.
And when you're young, you're not thinking about this. You're thinking about tomorrow, and you're thinking about next month maybe. And even if I were to tell you you got 30 years left, you start creating a bucket list of wanting to visit 40 countries, jump out of the aeroplane or something like that. But like, why? Why would you want to do that? And I think there isn't enough pauses in our life to really think about why we do what we want to do. There isn't enough pauses in our life to think about, okay, if I have got 30 more years, how do I contribute? How do I use my intellect and my abilities to make this world a better place? And that requires empathy, that requires really a lot of self-awareness to want to live to 100.
Yeah, I'm going to rethink my bucket list after this. Thank you for that. Mr. Loy, how are you rethinking the rhythm of the life cycle if the life cycle is getting longer? Do you still think about work and retirement the same way?
I know every time when I chat with some friends or saying that I'm planning to retire at some point of life, they say, "You sure you can retire?" And if you retire, you die faster. You know that. So a lot of these kind of things that they felt that you're off the rhythms of your daily activities, and then suddenly when you retire, you feel like you got nothing to do. You're disconnected from the world, and they say that in that case you actually worse off. So maybe there's some truth to that. Now I think for me, to retire gracefully and healthily, right? I think financial securities are very, very important, right? So this is where, as I say, life sometimes can be very hard, and if you expect your children to support you, and if they don't, not everybody have the privilege that that the children does well and they are well looked after. But in the case that if it is not, then what? So I think your own career path, as you wanted to progress your own career, how do you build up the saving? How should you build up your own connection with the friends and around? And where will be the settlement? I think this is very important. I've seen a lot of kampung folks that that farming can be a very, very good career if it does well. For example, that there are many area of agriculture that you can do. Free-range chicken, there's so many people wanted those kind of product, but you cannot find a good produce any fruit productions. And for example, right, that you are able to produce something that in the rural area, supply down. If you build that kind of agri or even aquaculture, for example, you still can make a very good living, and a lot of sun keep you healthy.
Yes,
a lot of
outdoors,
activities in the farm, fresh air and things like that. I feel that that there are many career paths that you can choose. Not everyone want to be IT and bankers, right? There will be other works that you can actually choose, and the best part is that possibly you are closer to your old folks, and then lives are a lot more slower paced, not so intense, not so competitive, for example. So I think it depends on every individual. How do you look at your own, how do you want to age?
Yeah, fantastic. And no offense to the IT and bank professionals in the room. Dato' Meg, I'm sure this must be resonating with you because you love the outdoors, you love to spend time being active outside. You recently retired. Congratulations. How are you rethinking retirement and the nature of work beyond the formal labels of what a job is?
Right. So we should rethink, right, from the typical learning in the first 20 years, working in the next 35 to 40 years, and retiring in the next 20 years and don't know what to do after that, right? So I just want to share with you two instances, all right? First, I was on a working trip to Cuba some time ago. So when I landed in Havana and checked out, I was received by this elderly woman, right? So as we were driving to the hotel, I casually asked how old she was. And she casually told me that she was nearing 70 at the time. I said, "When do you retire?" Here in Cuba, we don't retire, okay. Right? We work for as long as we can. And we will stop working when we feel like stop working.
Oh, lovely.
All right, so that was in Cuba. Then a few years ago, I was on another working trip to Japan. So this is a private school. So I was there, and I was actually having a chat with this deputy principal of the school. And he told me that, Dato, if you come back next year, I will not be in charge of this exchange program anymore. I asked why, because I'm retiring at the end of this year. I said, but I'll still be here. I'll still be here. You said you are retiring this year. Yeah, we retire this year, but we have 3 years, like soft landing. So they retire. So he said that he will retire as the deputy principal of the school, but he will go back as a teacher, as a mentor, as a coach to the younger teachers. And he will continue teaching, coaching for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
All right? And then he will retire gracefully.
So a gradual retirement, a phased
Yes.
retirement. And that is a great story because that also highlights mentorship and guidance, which is the wealth of knowledge from older people who it doesn't disappear at 60. So
That's right.
wonderful story.
They are not seen as irrelevant anymore. You know, they are there to mentor, to coach. You see, so that is probably something that we can adapt. Maybe it is already happening in certain sectors, but not across the board. So we should rethink of how we can gracefully retire and live with dignity and respectfully.
Yes.
Right.
So we're going to take some of your questions. I see they're coming in hard and fast. Lots of questions to do with loneliness and lifelong learning, as well as I just want to highlight someone who said, thank you for the good dairy products, Mr. Loy, and called you Mr. Boss Susu. So well done. Let's take a few questions. Thank you also for putting your names down. I see. I can't take credit for your question here. Let's look at this question. As technology is always evolving, how can we ensure that seniors can keep up to date and stay connected with the world? How do we make tech easier for seniors to learn? Do any of you have experience with struggling with tech or living in a world that's increasingly digital? I know I do personally, not just for myself, but also for my mother who's getting older, and I'm providing tech support over the phone when she has trouble logging in or scanning a QR code.
Actually, it is not just tech, but in our working experiences, we have come across where there are system migration. When there is a migration to a new system, we need to relearn, unlearn and relearn.
Yeah.
All right? So we need to attend courses. We need to attend workshops.
Do you think that older persons are being forgotten in our never-ending quest to digitalize and appify our lives? Do you think that there's enough care and consideration being given to older persons who aren't tech-savvy, can't keep up?
I don't know. I have a different point of view about tech.
Yes, it's part of your work.
Yeah, so it depends on what the tech is for. So for example, I would highly recommend not to give technology to young kids, right? To delay that as much as possible up until they have critical thinking, they have social and emotional skills, and then you give them the tech. And then there's the other group that I would also avoid giving tech to is the senior citizens. I can see my mother, my late father, when they were on the phone, they were as if hooked to it. That I'm right here sitting with you for dinner and they're still on their phone. So I'm also thinking how important it is for both the senior citizens as well as the young ones to have in-person social connections. If we're talking about technology that would ease your mobility, sure, great. But if we're talking about technology for social connections, I think it's very important that we take the time to actually spend in-person time with our parents, grandparents. So it really depends. If it's for social connections, reduce it as you grow older, reduce it when you are young. Like in the middle, when we're working, we can't help. But really, the point of having the technology for older persons.
There's a brilliant point that's raised by someone here saying that loneliness can be a crucial factor why seniors are the target group for scams as well. And maybe a lack of knowledge in how to use tech as well is something that contribute to this trend. Let's take a look at this question that's directed to Datuk Meg. How did you find your purpose once you conquered Mount Everest?
Purpose? Right. So besides celebrating the success, there is the social responsibility. So being a teacher at the time, so when I came back, I was seen as an icon. So how do I transfer the values that I learned while training and also climbing Mount Everest to my students? And how can I do that better if it is not guiding students up mountains? So this is what I've been doing ever since I came back after the expedition. It is not just about climbing. So they used to ask me questions. How does it feel to be on top? So you come with me. Let's go and let's feel it for ourselves. So that's one thing, all right? To bring them up, okay, now you tell me how do you feel. That's one thing. The other thing is to add more value to the climb itself, like conservation programs. To appreciate the mountains, to protect the flora and fauna that are only found in certain mountains in Malaysia for our future generations. So it is not just about climb, it is not just about feeling happy, but it is also about responsibility, shared responsibility to protect our mountains and jungle, so that everybody can enjoy the same thing that we are enjoying today.
Right.
So these are some of the lessons that I am actually passing on to the younger generation.
So your purpose that you
Yeah,
found
that-
after Mount
that's
Everest
right, that's
is
right.
to advocate for this.
Right, that's right.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, MHK, for that question, that thoughtful question to Datuk Meg. A question from Lee San San directed to Mr. Loy. Farm Fresh is marketed in schools to young children, including sweetened and flavored milk. How can commercial growth be balanced with nation building, tying into the conversation we had about nutrition?
Yeah, I think in terms of sugar, I'm really very passionate about this subject. Whereby over the years I've seen sugar is not bad, right? It's nothing wrong with sugar, but excessive sugar is the problem. So I think for Farm Fresh, I think over the years, we have hold our core value very, very close to our heart in the sense that our customer well-being are important to us, right? So there are some of our product. There will inevitably, you will have some sugar, but we're trying to minimize it. For example, if you were to look at the yogurt drink, for example, because it's very, very sourish, not many people can accept the goodness of yogurt as being sour. So you have to add a bit of sugar instead just to balance out, for palatability. And I think many years ago, I think the school milk used to be chocolate milk, and then because chocolates are bitters, right? You have to add a bit of sugar to actually sweeten it to make it palatable. So I think, but thank God, I think the MOE finally is come to terms that we only give full cream milk to the kids. So ever since I think towards the this current season, they are all given a plain full cream milk, which is going to be better for them because sometimes if you train them to sweet the tooth at a young age, and that become a problem. Now, I'm of the view that children nutrition, right? Unfortunately, sugar. There are many forms of sugar, right? Just because you claim that you are no sucrose, for example, especially in a children grow up milk, and a lot of mother thoughts that no sucrose means tak ada gula lah. Tapi the truth is that it is not true. In there, they are packed with other form of sugar, which is the hidden sugars that a lot of come in the different names that a lot of mothers don't even know that is actually sugar. For example, the maltodextrin, the corn syrup, fructose, or hydrolyzed, starch and all this. And they are all in a form of carbohydrate. And it really cause the kids' sugar to spike. So when you take a grow-out milk, for example, your kids' grow-out milk, if you take 3 to 4 times a day, there's too much of sugar in the bodies already, right? So I think that is something that we are very mindful. That is why if you look at Farm Fresh, when we roll out our children grow-out milk, there is 0 sugar. Not only not without sucrose, but in any form of sugar that, that is hidden in the other forms of names. So I think we are very, very mindful of that. Especially when you take the food as in daily routine, not like indulgent. Of course, there's someone say, "Hey, Lloyd, why are you doing ice cream?" Yeah, so I think, yeah, ice cream is sweet. But then again, this is indulgent. You don't start the day with your kids.
Nobody's having ice cream for breakfast.
I know, yeah, things like that. So I think there will be a point that for Farm Fresh, some of our SKU will have sugar, but please, we are not put that into a very, very staple food for everyday kids consumption. Yeah.
So part of longevity literacy is also nutritional awareness and education. We have to be literate about what it is that we're consuming. And I don't think that's enough. I mean, I barely know the pyramid, the food pyramid, and I can't remember all the different categories, but you're absolutely right. While I'm on you, Mr. Lloyd, there's a question that's related to business and the corporate sector. And as a business owner yourself, there's a question about how workplaces can be more conducive for older persons if we're living longer and thinking about rethinking retirement. Specifically, a question from BK, thank you. Is there a need for corporations to consider greater contributions and sponsorship for building infrastructure for the elderly, as well as other policies to encourage and incentivize the industry to be more supportive of aging?
I think for Farm Fresh, this ESG, right? In fact, I always felt that why conversation around ESG are usually focused on environment, and the governance, for example. I truly felt that, the S part of it are truly missing. Not many people.
So it's social.
Yeah,
right?
the
Many
social.
people do think of it as sustainable, but it's social.
Yeah, the social part, right? You have the environment, socials, and the governance and things like that. So I felt that, being a corporate, I think for Farm Fresh, we are very mindful. We want to do well by doing good, right? So this is very important. You want to do well, but if if your corporate values are bad, you don't care for the communities that you're around with and things like that. I think that is something that probably, especially for the big fund managers and all these other things, they should actually measure them in the sense that how responsible you are socially, right? So, like our case, I think Azmi, my partner Azmi, he did a great job over the years. Along our supply chain, we also created a lot of opportunity for this makcik-makcik, in the rural area and things, become our home dealers, right? And they can actually justify to make some additional income, even 800, 1,000 or 2,000, some of them doing very well, right? But that additional disposal income, serving their communities around the area, it's very, very meaningful for a rural area, a woman like that, as an additional disposal income for the family. So I think we have a few hundred. So, like for example, the government gave us the school feeding program. I think we are supplying to about 3,900 schools, feeding about close to 400,000 students.
Wow.
And then within the school, and now because not everybody got the free meal, right? There's another a total, I think, numbers of students is 1.6 million. So this housewife becomes our last mile distributor to actually supply to the school, right? And then they make an income out of it. I think it's a great public spending. Children get nourished, and then you create the opportunity
Jobs,
with these
yeah.
300 women that supplying the thing. So I think we are very mindful of that in that sense. How do we actually impact our communities or the people around us in a very small but meaningful way? Yeah.
So as long as it's built into the thinking of the business, the corporation, and it's not an afterthought like a checklist, an ESG checklist that you have to fulfill. Thank you for that question. We've got another one specifically for Alina. There is, sorry, I've lost it now. Okay, here we go. Question for Alina about education. Give me 1 second to find it. It's gone now.
No worries.
Okay, so we have a question about education in terms of how education can serve as a bridge, connecting the younger generation to national issues such as climate change, an aging population, and social justice. The question is from Nurul.
As I was just hearing Mr. Loy and Dr. Magindran share your experiences, I'm thinking, when can you meet with my students? I feel like they should hear more.
They should be here.
They should be here. They should be hearing this. And when we think about career fairs, for example, you don't hear from farmers. You don't hear from fishermen.
Yeah.
You hear from the tech companies and the financial institutions, and then students will then aspire to be one of us. But there's also actually so many opportunities in other rural development, which I think is a lost opportunity. The thing is, our students are online. They want what other people have. And because social media is heavily filtered, they always feel like they don't have enough. And I think they should meet with more people from different line of work to really understand what is it that they want to do in life for the long run. And in terms of bridging people, I really think that everybody should have an opportunity to go back into school and give back. You might think that, oh, I've got nothing else to learn here, I've got nothing else to do, I've done that 1,000 times, I've learned that already, and the moment you feel like you've got nothing else to learn, that's the moment where you got to give back.
Oh.
That's the moment where you got to teach. And I think if we want to bridge this, I love hearing from experienced people who are doing something completely different from what I do, because I keep learning new things, and I think that's the missing part with our kids. Whatever that they get is very heavily curated, very heavily based on what they are interested in. But I think at a young age, we gotta open up that exposure a bit more.
Wonderful. So thank you for all your questions. We've just got a little bit of time, which I'm going to use to wrap up with the panel. But, I mean, you are great in terms of the comments that you've given. I have to just say, in response to your brother's comments about, was it live fast,
die
young? Okay, here's something that EPF might want to consider. There's the young people say, we are not here for a long time, we are here for a good time. So maybe EPF might want to address that behavioral culture young to get them to start saving for living up to 100. All right, so in conclusion to our panel, I want to go down the line and then maybe get your final thoughts about a piece of advice, a takeaway message to your fellow Malaysians, whether they're 16 or whether they're 66 or whether they're 96. What advice would you give about how to live a good life and a long life, and what would that be? If I may begin with Datuk Meg first, and then we'll work our way in.
Right. Live to 100.
Yes.
Live to 100. You see, what is the point of living to 100 but spending at least 20 years in the bed?
Oh.
Right. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Right. We don't want that. So when we say live to 100, that means quality life throughout all stages. Right. This is what we are looking for. So it's a fulfilled life. It's a life where we are healthy physically and mentally. Should be able to connect with our loved ones and to be able to actively participate, in activities in the communities. This at every stage in life. This is what it is truly, all about. To live to 100, not spending a lot of time in the bed. See, so there should be a deep connection. There should be a deep connection with all the elements that we have been talking about, in the past 1 hour, to be able to connect with our loved ones, to be able to participate. That sort of connection has to be there throughout the stages, and this is that would be a good 100-year living.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I will take that advice of investing more in building connections.
Yeah.
Mr. Loy, what's your advice?
Okay. Now, I've been a farmer, right? Obviously, I will advocate these people to take a career path in being a farmers. And I truly think of it because if you are in the food production, you can never go wrong, Human being,
Everyone needs to eat.
you always have to eat, right? So you get into a very traditional business, but you are always there. If it does well, you're always there to stay. You know, I just came back from KK last month, and I tried this one avocado, local avocado there, right? It was so good. And I was thinking that we're importing avocado from all over the world, right? From Australia, from also all part of the world. But this avocado that, you know, that I tried locally grown in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, and it was tastes good. So there is actually a lot of opportunities into, and this having a very good shelf life as well. And nowadays, I truly think that agriculture, it's something that that a lot of people can attribute a career. Not only that, as I say, lots of sun, fresh air, and all this other thing. And you get very active. You got a sense of purpose. You know, the joy of you harvesting. You work toiling the soil, and then you harvest, you sell, and you know your good product. And it's a very, very satisfying profession at the same time for you to grow older, right? Yeah.
Nothing tastes as good as something you grew yourself.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
You farm yourself. Yeah.
Alina, last thoughts.
I have two things. The first one, something that I always tell my teachers and my team, is that it's easier to build strong, healthy children than it is to repair broken men. So the way we raise our children will decide what kind of 100-year-old citizens we'll have in a couple of years. Yeah. So that's the first one. The second one is that on top of having a retirement plan, I would highly recommend having a retirement pact. Like, look at your friends. You know, who do you want to retire with? Like, I hate the thought of thinking, oh, I'm gonna wait for my child to take care of me when I'm old. I want him to live his fullest life. And so, who is my pact that I would want to retire with, and have a pact with that person?
Okay.
I love that. I'm going to call my friends and see whether we can do a retirement pact after this. Thank you, everyone. Can we give a big round of applause to our panelists who have been wonderful and so candid and so wonderful in sharing your insights. And I want to thank you for being so engaged and sending in all of your questions and listening to my instructions of putting your names down. I'm sorry if I hadn't had a chance to go through all of them, but I appreciate your participation. And please rank this session highly. Thank you. Over to the MCs.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Alina Ame, Loy Tuan A, and Dato' Mangendran. If you could kindly just stand at center stage for the official photograph for this panel session, which proved very invigorating. Thank you, participants, for your questions. This session was meant to hear the voices of these three distinguished Malaysians, and we are happy that you have contributed your voices to this session as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please do take this opportunity to rate the speakers on the event app and provide your feedback so that we can make our event next year even better. This is not a rating on the speakers, but making sure that we are crafting the right sessions. And we will take this opportunity to show you the leaderboard. This was the leaderboard for the speed quiz that was released at the start of this round. Congratulations, Aliazara Syed Ahmad Daniel, Raja Arina Safra, Roshan Matialagan, and Nora Adipa Muhammad Ahyan. And make sure, this is just the leaderboard for this quiz. And for these winners, you may go to the help desk to get more information about claiming your gift. But for all participants, make sure you are actively participating in the ISWC challenge. I believe there's a QR code for the ISWC challenge. Make sure you have access to the event app. For virtual participants, you also have challenges that are through the virtual platform. And last but not least, make sure you're recycling your lanyards at the appointed bins when you leave. The appointed bins are by the lift and the escalator. We will be reusing these lanyards for next year's ISWC. So it is green, it is sustainable, and is the responsible thing to do. And you get a free reusable shopping bag when you do so. We will be taking a quick break for 10 minutes. We will return here at 11:20 a.m. And see you and have a refreshing break, everybody.